You get me? Hey, how y'all doing? It's June 21st, 2019. Welcome to our weekly roundup. I am sorry we didn't get to do a lot of videos this week, but we have. That just is more to love, more to cover, more excitement. And you know what today? You know why I'm excited today? Let me tell you why I'm excited today. I'm excited today because we are not at war with Iran at this very moment, at this very second. I love my president. I love this president. The president of the United States is Donald. I don't want to start any new wars. Trump. That's his name. I'm changing it right now. That's a big, long middle name. But he's earned it. And he deserves it. And I hope you're with me. And I hope you're going to enjoy the show. Michelle will be here momentarily. But until then, the floor is mine. It's yours. It's for the whole world. Let me take a second and get myself off. Oh, there we are. Hey, yo, people are here. I'm so excited that you're here. Let me wait to play his Meet the Press interview until a few people show up. While people are showing up, I want to talk about Iran. Remember how I didn't want to talk about Iran? This is kind of really why I didn't want to talk about Iran, because I don't want to go to war with anyone. We know what happened with Iraq, and I think that we can learn from our mistakes. And if you don't learn from your mistakes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And there are so many people missing from family Thanksgivings and Christmases and birthdays and holidays because we went to Iraq, and I wanted us to go to Iraq. I thought we were going to take out the big bad Saddam Hussein, but you can't bring democracy to the Middle East. But I knew even then you can't bring democracy. Democracy springs up. Democracy comes from the principles of Jesus Christ. Without the principles of Jesus Christ, you can't have a republic. You can't have a true democracy, because people who aren't controlling and ruling themselves need more government. And more government is socialism or totalitarianism, or you're going to have a czar or a king or any one of the myriad different kinds of governments that people have created, instituted to try to control people. Our government wasn't created to control people. Our government was created to give a framework of freedom. Okay, so when Michelle comes, I'm going to talk about this. This is my local paper, the Cincinnati Enquirer. On the third page, fourth page, what do I have? Do you see this? Drag Queen Story Hour. Making it lower. There we go. There we go. Drag Queen Story Time. Local church. I said church, but it's just a building at this point. Mount Auburn Presbyterians. You know, they call the Episcopalians the frozen chosen. Presbyterians following really close behind there. Where's Michelle? Michelle's coming. Did you feel the earthquake in Cleveland? No, I did not. Did you? War would end Trump's presidency. Besides, Trump is not a war criminal like the last guy and Hillary. Preach. You know what it's all about. I can hear you from here. All right. Thank you, real Donald Trump. Thank you, Donald J. Trump. I'm going to play this, but let me get to his tweet. His status here. I'm going to make sure this is on. Thank you very much. Okay, so I woke up today to this. I'm just going to go to Trump's tweets. Because you guys, we're living in a different realm, a different world. I love this world that we live in. Different. I mean, I would change some things. No, I don't want you. Go away. It would make it so I can't read. Hello? I don't want that. Go away. I better not be up my whole time. No. Be at peace. You know what? We're going to... No. I don't... Oh, go away. Go away. All right. Sorry, I'm having it. There it goes. Thank you. All right. Are you ready for this? You aren't ready for this. You aren't ready for this. You aren't ready for this. This is Donald Trump's tweets this morning, 9 hours ago. President Obama made a desperate and terrible deal with Iran, gave them $150 billion with a B dollars plus $1.8 billion in cash. Iran was in big trouble and he bailed them out, gave them a free path to nuclear weapons, and soon, instead of saying thank you, Iran yelled death to America. I terminated the deal, which was not even ratified by Congress, and imposed strong sanctions. They are a much weakened nation today than at the beginning of my presidency, when they were causing major problems throughout the Middle East. Now they are bust. On Monday, they shot down an unmanned drone flying in international waters. Now, you and I think drones, and we think, little man, 3-foot plane. No. This is a big mamma jamma. It's the size of a 737 Boeing jet.
And you probably look like the darkest person ever.
And I went for a tan, but Michelle just got rid of it because I forgot to turn the light on, but nobody said anything because I was bright as an angel.
Not really.
Wow. Okay, well, you're all here now. Thanks.
Hi, guys.
See, technical difficulties are all solved by Michelle.
So, shh.
I am speaking. Can I finish when I'm speaking?
Technically, Donald J. Trump is speaking. You're just like
right now.
Him. You're quoting him,
right?
Yes.
I was in the middle.
The lights on, Alma.
Just now.
Well, Andrew
after
just
you
said
did,
that.
after you turned the light on.
Yeah, I'm still not even happy with this lighting. Keep it. Oh.
What did you do?
Wait for it.
Are you kidding me?
Hang on, it'll come back.
Oh, can they hear us though?
I'm sure they can hear us.
All right. The size of a Boeing 737 is this drone. It's worth millions of dollars, over $1 million. Michelle unplugged our camera.
I didn't
and we're back.
Unplug the camera. And this lighting is so horrible. I don't know what to do. Oh, did this get shut down?
I didn't do anything. There we are. We're bright again.
Well, not really, but
no.
Nah. Carry on.
I need to keep speaking
with the fervor that you just had.
Yeah, because I was on a roll.
And then the sails,
and then
I took all
Michelle
the wind.
came and took the wind right out. She's like, "I'm here now. What can we talk about now, y'all?"
I actually was really concerned about the lighting because I wondered if you were going to have the light on.
Can you just roll with it?
Roll with the darkness.
Michelle doesn't like, you just roll it, you just fix it. You don't have to talk about it. You just fix it. It's called going with the show must go on.
Yeah, but
you're not
they're
good
like
at that.
Family, these people.
I know, but then you stop the roll.
Get back on it.
No, you kicked me off. No, I can't. It's the size of 737.
737.
This is the size of this drone.
Big.
On Monday, they shut down an unmanned drone flying in international waters. We were cocked and loaded to retaliate last night on 3 different sites. Get this. When I asked, this is going to go down in history, how many will die? Can we have a moment of silence? Donald Trump asked, how many will die?
Wow.
150 people, sir, was the answer from a general. 10 minutes before the strike, I stopped it. This is not proportion to shooting down an unmanned drone. I am in no hurry. Our militaries were built, new and ready to go, by far the best in the world. Sanctions are biting, and more added last night. Iran can never have nuclear weapons, not against the USA and not against the world. You may not understand the significance of this, and things could change in an instant. But what Donald Trump did here, there's a mom's cough drop on our 45 sticker.
Oops.
I'm gonna put that on the car. No one's, yeah. What people all over the world are sighing relief, and what Donald Trump did was he could have, with this one decision, sealed 2020.
Right.
Because the Bernieites are like, oh, you went against your generals, you went against the neocons, you went against the left.
Right.
You promised to not get us into war, and we're not at war right now.
Right.
And Sean Hannity was on a tirade last night. Give them all we got.
Well, and Fox and Friends
Lindsey
this
Graham.
morning was like, they were, I wouldn't say they're apoplectic, but like you could tell that they were like upset that he didn't do it. It was very interesting the way one person would say kind of one thing that made sense, like why Trump would pull out, and then in their next sentence, then they would kind of put a jab at how like we shouldn't have pulled out. And he shouldn't have.
Okay, here's the thing. A drone is expensive, but people don't die over money.
Right.
Okay? You put people in jail, you put sanctions on them, you go take some money from them.
Yeah.
Do something. You have to retaliate like for like.
Right.
Now, Donald Trump said, if there had been a person in there and you killed a U.S. soldier, all hell would have broken loose and I would have been right behind it.
Right.
Screaming demons, baby.
Right.
Killing a U.S. soldier on purpose.
Right.
That's it. I mean,
I agree.
that's war.
I agree.
That's war.
Well, that's somebody literally declaring war on you. You
Right.
can't. You don't have a choice. I think. Mm-hmm. Then you really are. And I don't like the word coward. But then you're heartless. Like you can't. You have to defend your country. If somebody's going to come at you and say, "Listen, we're declaring war. We're willing to kill your people," you have to respond in kind.
Right. Okay. So I want to play this for you. Donald Trump here, Meet the Press.
Had you said, if we do it, I'll do this? What was
Maybe I need to make him small. It's okay.
the order you gave?
Nothing is green-lighted until the very end because things change, right?
So you never gave a final
No. But
No.
we had something ready to go subject to my approval. And they came in, and they came in about a half an hour before. They said, "Sir, we're about ready to go." I said, "I want a better
Planes in
definition."
the air? Were planes
No,
in the
we're
air?
about ready to go.
Yeah.
No, but they would have been pretty soon. And things would have happened to a point where you wouldn't turn back or couldn't turn back. So they came and they said, "Sir, we're ready to go. We'd like a decision." I said, "I want to know something before you go. How many people will be killed?"
Can I turn it down a little bit?
In this case, Iranians. I said, "How many people are going to be killed?" "Sir, I'd like to get back to you on that." Great people, these generals. They said, came back, said, "Sir, approximately 150. And I thought about it for a second, and I said, you know what? They shot down an unmanned drone, plane, whatever you want to call it. And here we are sitting with 150 dead people. That would have taken place probably within a half an hour after I said go ahead.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. I didn't think it was proportionate.
That's so perfect.
This
Proportionate.
is the defining. I hope that they play this over and over again. This is the defining moment of who Donald Trump is. Because do you understand the kind of the mentality that Donald Trump has? Very few people have, because he doesn't have revenge in him. He talks about Crooked Hillary. He's asking for justice. Not revenge. He was actually ready to let bygones be bygones. But what they did to him during, then, and we were all upset because he didn't have revenge in his system, right? He is not revengeful. And with that is the mark of a leader beyond all people.
Well, and not only that, but he's also not buckling to the pressure of the people that are revengeful. And that's huge, because I think most leaders, most presidents, at least in the last 100 years, all weren't really our leader. They were a representative of the generals and the people around them.
So let me kind of break this down for you, because a Lindsey
Break it
Graham
down.
was on there. We want to throw everything at but he has to walk a fine line, because he is backing the president. He would, if the president were going after Iran, he'd say blah, blah, blah. Yes, we have to do this, because he said, if Iran crosses another red line, let's take out their whole Navy. Let's take out every military that they've got, pretty much. He wants to kill people. Why? Because Lindsey Graham has been in Congress for a long time.
Right.
And so behind him is a pressure. And these are like the Halliburtons and the military industrial complex. And they're pushing him over and over and over and over and over again, right? Donald J. Trump didn't make his way through the House of Representatives to Senate to a governorship, or he didn't have, he's beholden. Let me tell you who he's beholden to. The people that are raising money, which after Donald Trump's rally in Florida, which marked his official 2020 race, he raised $24 million. I guarantee you that money was raised through little people like you and me. So AOC says that she's people funded. She's not. She has a very wealthy guy
oh my gosh.
who's putting this together, Justice Democrats, and he is not only her push, but in her ear. Now, Donald Trump does have a push.
Right.
And the push that he receives is the most amazing thing that I've ever seen.
Touch my muscles.
No, I'm just trying to give an example. Push. The push that he gets is from you and me because he is fueled
She hates being
by
touched.
people. He is fueled by these rallies, and I'll show you a little bit of the rallies with the women in like the little American hats and the women for Trump, and the he is fueled by this excitement of the people.
Party twirler?
Yeah. Okay, he is fueled by the people, and then he goes to Twitter and he's like, okay, what do the people want me to do now?
Not go to war?
The people don't want me to go to war. And Tucker Carlson sat down with Donald Trump.
I love Tucker.
And it is well known all over media. Everyone knows now that the person that has gotten the ear of Trump over Sean Hannity and over, Trump used to say, I love Sean Hannity, or Trump used to say, I love the morning show.
Fox and Friends.
Fox and Friends, great show. But who he watches the most is, I believe, Tucker! Now. And it's just been recent.
I know.
Because he sees that Tucker Carlson is actually the guy whose mind meshes with his the most.
I think so.
Because Donald Trump is not a traditional conservative Republican. He's not a Ben Shapiro, who is very upset that we didn't bomb Iran because
so sick of
here's the thing. This is probably one of the only anti-Israel things you're going to see here on Resistance Chicks.
Just because you're anti-Ben Shapiro does not make you anti-Israel.
Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu have tunnel vision. They can't see the bigger picture. And Iran has... If somebody next door to me in like Indiana had weapons and they were constantly saying death to Cincinnati over and over again, I would think that the Indianians, it's kind of a joke, Indianians would be my number one enemy, and I would want the big bad whoever to come and, so listen, they have on their missiles death to Israel. They hate Israel. They absolutely hate Israel, but we have to say, okay, if Iran touches you, if Iran shoots a missile at you, we will obliterate the entire country. We won't want to, but we will. Right? But they haven't yet. And we're not going to preemptively do anything because it's like an own Western thing. The other person has to be the first to draw. Otherwise, you're just as bad.
Yeah.
Right? You make yourself just as bad. So Iran is threatening and posturing. And you have to take a deep breath like Donald Trump did and say,
how many lives are going to be lost here? Not on our side, on their side. How many people are we headed to kill?
But here's the thing. If we had killed 150 Iranians, Americans are going to die.
Yeah.
And for 100, and it's kind of like, even like, let's bring it down to a small, minute thing here in our family, right?
Okay.
We talk about finances a lot.
Okay.
And sometimes there are big expenses.
Yeah.
But is it worth somebody's life?
No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Is it worth people's lives? So when you put your stock on money, because that's what it is with this like $180 million drone.
Right.
It's just money.
Right.
It's just money. It's not worth people's lives right now.
Exactly.
Lives are worth lives.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even maybe if it was a building or American territory. But this was a
Yeah, but
drone.
I still think a life would have to be lost.
Not if you come and you attack a building in America on American soil.
Okay.
Our soil is worth life too. You know, if you set up a
From
bomb.
what I understand, it was a 4-mile difference. Okay.
International waters to Iran.
They accused us of being 8 miles off. We say we were 12 miles off. Mm-hmm. If we were 8 miles off, then we were not in international airspace. If we were the 12 miles off, then we were. And so then they had no right to strike us down. In my humble opinion, I kind of agree with what Trump had said, is I believe that someone must have made a mistake. Mm-hmm. Now, that is possible. Is it probable? I don't know. But the idea is that it is a very close call to determine 150 lives over. You're smiling. You're not even paying attention.
Yeah. No, I'm
You're already 10 steps ahead on your next thing. All right, hit it.
Okay.
More Trumpy.
So, this is going to make heads explode. But Time magazine came out with a thing, and it said, I guess, how Trumpism outlasts Trump, the strength of his support or whatever.
Wow.
And everybody is saying that he's not going to, or he's not going to give up his seat. That even if he loses in 2020, he's not going to give up. He wants to be a dictator for life. It's all these crazy conspiracy
No president
theories.
has ever tried that, as far as I know. But I mean, FDR stayed, but it wasn't that he was staying against everybody wanted him to.
This is what we call the most epic of trolls, okay? Because here's the thing. When somebody is so crazy like that, Hillary Clinton says, you're not going to accept the results of the election. And what has she not done for the past 3 years?
Exactly.
Except the results of the election. The Democrats, nobody's accepted the results.
It's laughable.
What you have to do is when they go cray-cray, smack them in the face with more crazy.
Who did that?
Forever.
Who did it, though?
I don't know.
So,
I honestly don't know, but it's had like almost 3 million views. Okay, but the outlandishness of it is so it's so funny, and the fact that the left's like, oh my gosh, he does want to be dictator. I'm like, Trump doesn't even want to be president. He's just doing it because he feels like it's the right thing to do. He does not. You know what he enjoys? He enjoys the audience. He enjoys the rallies. He enjoys that part. But this is literally for him. I know it beyond a shadow of a doubt. This is a service that he's doing, and he enjoys it. He knows he's good at it. He's like, I got to do this. He might be the only one, you know.
However, I want to address something that you had said at the start. I don't know if it was on the actual cover there or not, but yeah, it was. Like pretty much how Trumpism, you know, because of his support, is going to have a lasting effect. And as funny as that is, for you and I, it's very serious because I believe that a change and a shift has happened.
Oh my gosh. That was the most prophetic thing I've ever seen. You're right. This is a marking. This is a change of history forever.
We are used to Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. Every 8 years we get a shift. People are sick and tired of what this last president did, so then we get a shift. And it happens. It's happened my entire life.
But Trump's not a Republican.
I know.
He switched it.
I'm telling you guys that regardless of whether it's Don Jr. next, which would be so fantastic, or Kansas, you know, whoever it is that's going to be running in 2024, I have a sneaking suspicion that from now on, for a long time, the Democrats are going to be the losing team.
Losers.
Now, was it the Red Sox?
The left
that were like that lost for like, I don't know, 75 years. Like they never could win. And then in the end, they finally, you know, won it with the movie Fever Pitch.
They'll come back around when they get to know Jesus again.
I'm going to say it right here on our show.
Yeah.
I think that the Democrats are going to be on a losing streak for a good portion of my life.
They're going to go the way of the Whigs. It's a new party.
I really think that there is going to be something new that's going to come forward.
I have way more respect for the Green Party.
Okay. But do you know why I think that they're going to... So you know how everybody's upset at Nigel Farage because the Brexit Party splits the vote?
Splitting the vote.
I'm going to tell you something that has happened with socialism here in our country. It has split the Democratic vote. Mm-hmm. And so now you will never have a majority because you're never going to come together.
Only a quarter of this country really believes in Marxism, socialism.
The Bernieites aren't going to vote Democrat anymore. They're going to be staunch Bernie supporters or AOC supporters or whatever. And the age-old Clinton supporter... Okay,
they're not going to be able to vote for.
They're not going to be able to vote for Bernie Sanders, and so what socialism has done, which is so great for conservatism and for libertarianism, is we've got a kind of a collaborative, whereas they don't because they can't stomach voting for each other.
Under Donald Trump, what has been created, and what you see in like a Josh Hawley, and a couple of other. Names I can't get off the top of my head that came into under Trumpism. There's a new politics here. There are Republicans and then there's Republicans. Okay, there are R's like Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. They're not Republicans. Call them Liberrepublicans, right?
Right.
True libertarians, like they're weird. So
I know that you have a lot to cover, but let me address this because Redneck Survivalist says Ivanka 2024. I'm not going to talk about Ivanka one way or the other. I don't care. I'm telling you who is going to be the next nominee. It has to be Don Jr. Everybody keeps asking, will it be Eric? Will it be Melania? Will it be Ivanka? And I'm like,
he's got the voice.
You do realize that Don Jr. is everywhere. He sounds just like his dad, but actually better. I mean, seriously, Don Jr. is the dude. He is the guy. He is the one that's being groomed for this. Eric can't do it. Ivanka couldn't do it. Melania can't do it. The only one that can do it is Don Jr. Or Kansas. No, what I mean is, if you're going to keep in the Trump family, right. I don't know why nobody talks about Don Jr. when they're like, oh, Ivanka, oh, Melania, oh, Eric. I'm like...
I think they're keeping on the down low.
Don Jr.'s the dude.
I think...
He is the only option.
I continue to urge real Donald Trump to stick to his principles and avoid starting yet another war in the Middle East. The neocons around him are salivating for conflict. Don't do it, Mr. President.
Wow. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Senator Rand Paul.
Thomas Massey had kind of the same. Trump responsibly restrained on foreign policy.
Hot dog.
And this is from... what I love here is... Let me give you an idea of what's going on. Do you see this Human Events? Human Events has been taken over by... Will Chamberlain and Raheem Kassem. This is a new publication, okay? Brand new. But what I love is that they are hitting up the good guys. And so for Raheem Kassem to get Rand Paul to tweet out one of his articles, they're our voice, okay? Raheem and Will are, and Jack Posobiec and things like that, they are creating a new media, okay? And they're fighting for us at the top. They know people. Raheem Kassem was an editor at Breitbart. He worked under Bannon, left when Bannon left, but he was Nigel Farage's right-hand Brexit man, okay? He's a smart guy. I wish he would stop using curse words. Like Tony Blair in Iraq and Nicolas Sarkozy in Libya, Barack Obama has shown no contrition for his overt and dangerous grooming of Iran. I should read it in his accent. Now Trump is having to clean up the mess in the knowledge it could get worse if he approaches it heavy-handed. Restraint is the key word. President Trump has displayed the hallmarks of a foreign policy born from the warnings uttered by America's founders. Now, you guys, I want you to understand that this is Raheem Kassem is British, but he lives here and he works here in the United States, but he also is a big voice for European politics and British politics. And that's why we cover it, because there is a convergence of the force here. This is a universal. We are the Jedi.
Whoa!
Do you feel the power?
Oh my goodness! She went full force. Star Wars.
We are the Jedi. This is a universal Jedi. And so what's happening in Poland or a Salvini in Italy or a Bolsonaro in Brazil, there is a Jedi Christian awesome force. And Will Chamberlain's Jewish, and I don't know about Raheem Kassem. He does seem to believe in Christian principles, but I don't think he's Christian. I don't know. He was an ex-Muslim.
He was Muslim, yeah.
But they're all supporting Christian principles, okay? And I can go with it because as the letter from John Adams to Thomas Jefferson as they debated the divinity of Christ was Jefferson saying, as according to the teachings of Christ, I call myself a Christian. And that's what we all need to do. The teachings of Christ, these American founders, he says, it frustrates the hawks and may even seem weak to those searching for weakness, especially after an attack on U.S. assets. But it is in keeping with the heuristic. See, they use big words to make themselves look smart. I have no idea what heuristic means. Okay? You can look it up. Of engaging in foreign entanglements only when it is expressly in the U.S. national interest to do so. This is manifestly the case with Iran. Now, remember, our founding fathers believed in this. Our founding fathers said we don't want to get involved in international entanglements unless we have some interest in it. We are not going to be involved. Okay? Of course, there is a national interest. Anyone who needs to be reminded of Iranian machinations in the region of both trading and geopolitical import, or their alliances and sponsorship of disruptive practices to the detriment of American interests, should bone up. But in his awkward manner, Trump is now talking about the proportionality regarding a retaliatory attack on Iran. His critics, OMG, Trump will start World War III, circa 2016, heads are spinning. When America's founders intervened in foreign affairs, it was proportionate to the national interest and aimed at defending against European machinations being exported to the United States. This is the diametric opposite of the foreign policies set and expressed by at least 3 of the U.S. presidents before Trump. It wasn't just with hindsight that one could foresee Iraq and Libya leading to what they did. Critics at the time warned that creating post-Saddam and post-Gaddafi vacuums. That would be awful. Thankfully, the Egyptian people saw to it that the same didn't happen with their country, ousting the late Mohammed Morsi with extreme and necessary prejudice at the first opportunity. Western interventions and hunts for regime change have scarcely been about the U.S. national interest, nor do they pretend to be. That's why Trump's foreign policy seems so alien to talking heads at CNN and even Fox News. The phrases democracy promotion and humanitarian intervention alluded to necessarily imperialistic impulses. Yet the left hasn't uttered any apology for Obama, who campaigned as a dove and governed as one of the most aggressive presidents America's ever seen, both at home and abroad. Nor has the established right atoned for Bush. Both camps, from the Cheneys to Ben Rhodes, must be rebuked and rebuffed when it comes to contemporaneous geopolitical matters, and that includes on Iran. Now, what we're talking about here is you have a president who's called a neo-Nazi, who is accused by AOC of setting up concentration camps on the border.
Did we talk about that?
Yes, no, not yet. We're going to talk about those concentration camps where people are fed steak and potatoes, and they can walk out at any time back across the border.
Their help with their own transgender issues.
They're allowed, yes, they're giving help with transgender issues, yes. Oh my word, we're going to get to that. My point is that Donald Trump said, how many Muslim lives are going to be lost if I fire Iran? 150. He said, brother, I don't want to kill 150 Muslim people.
You know how the left will spin that?
I don't want to kill 150 Muslim people.
No, they will spin it and they'll say, Trump decided not to fire now because he didn't want to kill only 150 Muslims. That's how they'll spin it.
Worst neo-Nazi anti-Muslim ever. You get a chance if you're anti-Muslim to kill the Muslims. He's not anti-Muslim.
Wow.
Hello, McFly. None of us are anti-Muslim. We just don't want to see Islamists ruling our country. Rashid Tlaib Ilham Omar, who says, oh my word, you need to see this.
Oh my
Are you ready? We're going to talk about them concentration camps because there are more important things in this world, but I want to talk about this right now. Okay. I'm going to see.
Peter says AOC has lost her mind if she ever had one. Redneck Survivalist says AOC is a dingbat. I kind of agree.
Ilhan Omar. I'm not spelling it right. Ilhan Omar. I'm sorry, it doesn't like roll off the tongue. Spelling doesn't. All right. This is okay. So AOC is on the hook for saying that she's been down to the border and that people are in concentration camps.
Right.
And we said never again.
Right.
Now remember, Never again is for Nazi concentration camps. So I'm going to talk a little about proportionality, because when everyone's a Nazi, no one's a Nazi. When everything's a concentration camp, nothing is a concentration camp. Where they, threw children up against walls, they pulled your teeth out for the things, they took your shoes.
The definition of a concentration camp is something that was put into place where they used these people as slave labor forces until they died. And the intent was that they didn't care about their lives. And in the end, they weren't going to try to save their lives. They were going to kill them after they were no longer useful for their slave labor force.
So we're going to talk about that. But I want you to see...
Down at the border, no one is being used as a slave labor force.
Right now, this is Ilhan Omar. She was member elected from the Justice Democrats. She has no political know-how, but just listen.
Hi, could I get a moment of your time? Could you tell me, do you agree with AOC that ICE is running concentration camps on the border?
Hang on.
There are camps and people are being concentrated. This is very simple. I don't even know why this is a controversial thing for her to say. We have to really truthfully speak about what's taking place. And this is why it's really important for us to abolish ICE and make sure that we have an agency that is accountable to the people, that is dealing with the situation in a humane way. There's no way that we can allow for kids to be caged in this country, and children to be separated from their families, and people being terrorized in their communities.
Is it fair to...
We have to make sure that we are calling it out, and I am 100% with Alan.
We're going to play that one more time.
Concentration camps on the border.
It doesn't want to play the part where she...
There are camps and people are being concentrated. This is very simple. I don't even know why this is a controversial thing for her to say.
When I was a kid, we couldn't afford orange juice or a lot of juice, in the whole bottle. So we bought concentrated orange juice or concentrated grape juice. They're really fun to make. You put them in the freezer. When you need some juice, you take it out, you add some water, and you have concentrated.
Now it's more expensive to buy those than it is to buy the full-fledged juice.
They used to be cheaper.
Right.
But I'm just wondering if she's thinking that people have been condensed into concentrate. Are they being concentrated like orange juice?
Right.
They're camps and people are being concentrated.
Right. Well, we are 75% water.
So they're literally being squished down into little people.
Yeah.
In a little bottle.
There's the technology to do it, I think.
There are camps and people are being concentrated. There's also another way to say it. Oh, you can get to this country if you think hard enough.
Really concentrating.
Oh, I'm being concentrated down here. It hurts so bad. I'm just having to think so hard.
Yeah, it does hurt for them.
There's camps and people are being concentrated.
I can't. I don't even know where to go.
Concentrate on that, Michelle, and see if you can come up with something.
No, I have got nothing. Okay, there are camps, but even if on her definitions, if she wanted to go with the fact that they are being condensed to a small area, okay, they're not spread out. We could go that far, but that being said, it takes away from the atrocities of what we all know concentration camps to be.
This is from a picture from the Iman Tawhidi. He went to Auschwitz. And he took this picture. He said, I took these two pictures in Auschwitz. Look at them closely. These were built to imprison, torture, starve, gas, and burn human beings. Do they look like the U.S. border facilities where illegal migrants are held there?
I'm going to tell you, no, leave the picture up, please.
There's another one.
Okay. Well, I wanted that one. Go back. This is why. Okay. Let me tell you what happens to somebody when they get burnt to a crisp. You might say they have been concentrated. When you choose to be incinerated after death, you are concentrating your body swiftly. They have been concentrated because there was a whole person burnt to a crisp into a pile of ash that has been concentrated. Concentration camp. Ilhan. Carry on.
Okay. So we all know that AOC's favorite president is FDR. And she wants to do the Green New Deal as the new FDR, right? Now raise your hand if you know what FDR did.
He started Social Security.
No. He put Japanese in.
Oh, he put Japanese in. I'm stuck on the Social Security thing. He put Japanese in internment camps.
So she says, did you know that Trump has concentration camps on the border where he's like concentrating people? I wish we had a good president like FDR. Yo, didn't FDR round up Japanese Americans and put them in camps? It's nice to meet you. Can we talk instead? Her hero, now, she could be upset. If you went and rounded up people here legally, citizens, many of them, of the United States, who all they did was share in Japanese heritage.
Right.
And they were put in a concentration camp type setting, in an internment camp where they worked.
Right.
In fields and things like that. Now, they were treated humanely. But that was one of the bad things that our country did, because you don't ground up people on the basis of their national heritage.
I don't like that you say our country, because FDR does not represent our country as far as, not my president, as far as I'm concerned.
Our military rounded up these people, knocked on their doors.
Right.
And see, that's what's happening that's not what is happening on the border. These people are coming from as far away as the Congo, okay, in Africa, taking $4,000 airplane flights coming into South America. And then they're not even knocking on the door. They're coming in our country illegally, which I don't think the nice thing to do is to put them in some sort of facility while they have their asylum looked at. I think they should be turned around. I think that at this point, our asylum system is so broken. It's not working. Right. You don't get to come in. We don't store you here. You don't get to come in here like that.
So we have had a massive flood. And our ground is so saturated that it can't hold any more water. So every time it rains, it just floods everywhere. If we could, we would turn off the faucet and say, no more. We got to deal with the problem that we have right now.
Exactly.
And we can't have any more rain. So we're going to just turn off that rain faucet. Because we can't handle any more. And then it can rain again when we can.
I think that's true.
That's exactly what's happening at our border.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
if we don't have a time frame to get people through asylum while they're still in these camps or whatever, then nobody else gets to apply.
Right.
It happens all the time for benefits or for college applications.
And you know how big South America is? It's very, very large. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Now, Chris Hayes is he is a CNN contributor or MSNBC contributor, excuse me. And a lot of these people are trying to explain away concentration camp. So this is the Auschwitz Memorial official Twitter page.
Yep.
Who says, at Chris Hayes, please consider following the Auschwitz Museum, where every day we commemorate and educate about the tragic human history of Auschwitz.
But did you show Chris Hayes' original tweet?
No.
You should.
But I don't know where
I'm curious if it's still up there.
Let's see.
He was just talking about how there have been concentration camps since before what happened at the Holocaust. Okay. And Fox and Friends had somebody on, I think it was yesterday morning, that pretty much was like, listen, what you do is you nullify what happened. You become a Holocaust denier.
You do.
When you all of a sudden say...
Okay, if you spend a few minutes learning some actual history, you will find that concentration camps are different from death camps and have a history that both predates and extends far past the Nazis. As he's trying to defend Ocasio-Cortez. Remember, she said never again. That is her quantifier for concentration camp.
And so she's quoting
Nazi concentration
exactly.
camp. And for him to say, if the way he frames this, he has to know she said never again. These are Nazi concentration camps. When you say, well, not all concentration camps were death camps.
Right. Everyone knows what we all understand a concentration camp to be. In modern society, we go back to the Holocaust. This is how we define a concentration camp. We do not go back to anything that predates the Nazi concentration camps, okay? And I have a sneaking suspicion that even under your definition of concentration camps that predate the Nazi Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust, wish it had been a Nazi Holocaust.
She says
these concentration camps of which you speak probably did not provide excellent health care that helps you if you are a transgender, probably did not provide education, probably did not provide food and clothing to the nth degree. That's what is happening at our border. It's not a concentration camp. Any concentration camp that predates Nazi concentration camps is probably going to be considerably worse than what is happening at our border.
So with Auschwitz tweeting out to him, please consider following us and educate yourself on the history of Auschwitz. The concentration camps were set up as death camps. So they were synonymous. They were one and the same. Mm-hmm. Okay? They were one in the same. And so people be like, but like in a funny way, roasted. You just, and everybody's like, you just earned a follower. Make that 2, make that 3. AOC needs to take a visit as well. And I forget his name, but because it's hard to pronounce, but he follows us on Facebook, and he's a member of the parliament in Poland. And he sent a letter to AOC and said, I would like to invite you to come and tour Auschwitz.
But you know why she won't? And do you know why Ilhan Omar and AOC can say what they said? Because they are Holocaust deniers.
They are. They don't.
Because they hate Jews.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone that is pro-Palestinian right now in today's day and age is usually anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
And if you're anti-Semitic, AOC, you don't get to say concentration camp.
No. Hi, AOC, meet David. David has numbers on his arms. They were tattooed on him by Nazis when David was in the Auschwitz death camp. Those Nazis killed David's entire family. David is a message for anyone who thinks America runs concentration camps. AOC, you need to hear this.
This is not a concentration camp. They're free. I looked out over there and I said to myself, all the mattresses and everything, food. I said, if at that time I would think it's a country club. So live the best you can. It's still America, it's still the best country. If you don't believe it, then leave the country.
Are you going to play the whole thing? Okay.
My name is David Tuck. I was born in Poland. In our town, we only had about 18 Jewish families. First, the Nazis gave us the yellow armbands on the left arm. Then they gave us a Star of David, one in the front, one in the back. If you walked in the street on the same sidewalk the SS-men walked, if you didn't step down, they will kill you. If I had any piece of bread at night with me, somebody knew about it, they will steal it from me. Everybody was for himself. Survival. There were times at night when I used to go
Sorry, it's not playing.
I said, please God, let me see the light the next day. Many times.
Five
They gave me a
years
tattoo
he spent in
number.
Auschwitz.
I still have it on my arm. If you wanted to, I show it to you. I'm skin and bone already. The Americans were bombing all the roads, the railroad. No food was coming to the camp. I never forget, on May the 5th, there were more dead people in the camp in the barracks than living ones. When I saw the guns, I said, my God, now they're going to kill us. And he said to us, noontime, the Americans are going to come down the mountain and you're going to be free. I didn't believe it myself, I made it. I made a commitment. I never forget, never forgive what it did to me. But I don't live with hate.
To someone who thinks that America runs concentration camps on the border, can you give them a message as someone who experienced a concentration camp?
Grow up. You know how to spell, you know how to read, how to listen, do it. You can't compare it. Anytime I hear it, it's sickening.
What about the term people call President Donald Trump, people call other political opponents Nazis? What do you think about that?
sickening. It's just plain sickening. I thought we smarted it. Everybody looks up to, everybody wants to come to America. I remember when I was a little boy, the first thing what I said to the American, I want to go to America. I want to get out. I want to live here. Sure, nothing is perfect in life. I came here to go to work, I had a family. I'm not complaining, nothing, but I'm free. Freedom, yeah, if you don't take advantage for freedom, don't think about something else is going to be better. If you want to come to America, I did it, I waited, I came here. It's life. This politics it's unbelievable. You don't like the president, in 4 years you can kick him out. Forget it. I listen to those politicians sometimes, I said, I wonder. They think that we're not even stupid, that's all. Don't worry, we're not going to hurt nobody. So people come in here, different kind of people come in, there's trouble, there's always trouble in the world. No, even the families, we don't like each other.
That's true.
So live the best you can. It's still America, still the best country. If you don't believe it, then leave the country.
You know, I'm so glad that you played that, because what I was thinking was the Jews were quite literally rounded up. They were wealthy, a lot of them, not all of them, but they did well. They were rounded up.
And first, they were demonized as these bankers.
Right.
And with the long noses and everything. They were demonized as people who were trying to subvert the country and take over things. And so you would like spit and be like, oh, Jews, the bankers. Ooh, Jews are bankers. And it's so weird that it still permeates our mentality. Yeah. And even today, you have people who have a Nazi mentality.
Exactly.
In our comment section, you don't realize that you're literally spouting, the other spirit of Hitler inside of you. Like, that man was a Jew. Do you think he was some crazy banker trying to take over the world?
Well, he was a child, but yeah, do you think his family was?
No. They weren't. And when you other people, and that's what the Democratic Party is trying to do to us, Trump supporters.
Right.
Now it's racism. Now we're racist, we're this, we're that.
When that's what they are, because that's when you utilize the term Nazi or concentration camp, you are actually hating Jews when you say it.
Absolutely.
So what I was thinking as I was, even before you played this, is that these Jewish people, and we can go down the chronology or whatever of how it happened, the armband, the star, taking their weapons away, whatever. When it boils down to it, they were rounded up. Everything that they had was stolen. Their homes, their goods, their family possessions, their heirlooms. George Soros was part of it. He went in and he took stuff, and he said, if I didn't do it, someone else was going to do it, so it might as well have been me. And he was Jewish. Okay? These people were rounded up. Everything that they had, down to their articles of clothing, they lost. Naked, nothing. They had zero possessions in this world, and even their bodies didn't belong to them because they had been kidnapped and taken away and rounded up. Regardless of what you want to call a concentration camp, nobody rounded up people from South America and brought them to our border and stole every single possession that they had and stripped them naked and then forced and put them to work in working concentration camps. You were not rounded up in South America and brought here.
Right.
Okay? So that's the difference that AOC seems to not have in her mind.
Right, exactly. And by rounding up people, if Jews were in Germany illegally, they'd be totally different for you to round them up and deport them. Okay? But they were just Jewish.
Well, they didn't round them up and deport them with their goods. That would happen. If somebody were to be deported here from the United States, they'd be allowed to take their stuff. They wouldn't be stripped naked. They wouldn't be sent to a concentration camp where they are killed and worked to death.
So we're talking about concentration camp. There is a concentration camp. It's over 2 million Uyghurs in
They took their gold teeth, says Eric.
Muslim Uyghurs in China. Concentration camps. China runs concentration camps, and they call them hospitals, where you can go if you need an organ transplant, you can go get one in China, like that.
We talked about this.
People aren't donating their organs. Okay, China rounds up people of political dissent, keeps them on standby. Okay, and when they have somebody who's willing to pay $100,000 for a heart or a lung or a kidney, they will kill you. And they'll take that out and they'll put it into somebody who's willing to pay the money. Now, in my opinion, that's one reason why the people in Hong Kong have been protesting for days against the extradition order that is supposed that they want to implement, which would allow for China to extradite anybody that they want from Hong Kong. Now, remember, Hong Kong was under British rule,
Right.
and now it's back and it's quasi under Chinese rule, but they still have some autonomy that that gives them more freedom,
Right.
lots of more freedom. Okay, and they don't want China to be able to extradite anybody who speaks out against the Chinese government, puts them in a prison, takes out their heart and lungs while they're still alive and their eyeballs or whatever. And so here's the thing: actually, it's a couple million people, but thousands of people took to the streets of Hong Kong on Friday for the third time in less than a week, calling for the city-state's chief executive, Carrie Lam, to resign, while demanding that the government drop a controversial extradition bill which would allow Hong Kong to extradite people who are wanted for crimes in mainland China. So these people are like the Chinese people, the Asian people, you could say, who know freedom. And a lot of people probably cover up their faces so they're not facially recognized, because China has
facial recognition everywhere.
And they will...
it's Big Brother spying on you day and night. You're probably not... I know you're not safe in your own house. You can't say anything in your own house.
Right.
Without it being recorded. We're almost there. We are there right now in the United States. We just don't know where they're harboring all of the information.
The mostly young protesters surrounded the police headquarters in the city's Wan Chi district on Friday, blocking roads and staging a sit-in less than half a mile from the legislative offices. One of the group's leaders, activist Joshua Wong, who was recently released from prison after rising to prominence during the 2014 Umbrella Revolution, Wong told Al Jazeera that he risks rearrest under the hardline suppression of the police force for protesting in this unauthorized protest.
Unauthorized protest.
Yeah. Wong said
they don't have the freedom to protest.
The demonstration at police headquarters showed the anger of the protesters at the treatment of their comrades at the hands of riot officers after violent clashes last week. He said, however, Friday's actions were a peaceful occupation of the roads around the building, and protesters would not try to storm the complex. Wong said his organization, Demezito, encouraged people to join the demonstration. It's a miracle of Hong Kong. Local police have asked the protesters to leave the area. However, they're not planning any clearance operations. Lam apologizes, the city-state leader. She issued a rare public apology saying she was sincerely sorry for her handling of the extradition bill, which resulted in two prior protests which attracted over 1 to 2 million participants. That's a lot of people. A lot of people. I think there's like 55 million people in Hong Kong altogether.
Wow.
I have heard you loud and clear and have reflected deeply on what has transpired. The concerns over the last few months have been caused by deficiencies of the Hong Kong government. That said, while Lam committed to indefinitely suspend the extradition bill last Sunday, she did not respond to demands that Hong Kong completely withdraw. She has also failed to call for an investigation into the allegations of police brutality for the protests on June 12th, which did turn violent. The chief executive said the bill would be delayed. It needed to be scrapped. And we are also protesting the violent reaction of the Hong Kong police. So I want to stand with these protesters, and I want to play this for you because... they're singing. This is the protesters.
I love that song. I grew up singing it. We grew up singing that song. And they're singing it in English. Why?
Well, because Hong Kong was Great Britain, they all know English.
It's amazing to me. I mean, we get so caught up in our own little echo chamber of just being American that we forget what's going on around the world, which is why we try to bring you world news.
So we have Tokyo youngsters.
I don't know what they're saying, but it sounds good.
This is the Hong Kong police brutality that we didn't really have a chance to cover.
That's rough. I actually do fine with violence when it's fake. I have no problem with violence in movies personally, but when it's real, I have a real problem with it. Yeah. Speaking of which, there were a couple of comments on our last topic that I wanted to read, and before I do, I also want to say that it's really difficult for me. I don't know why. When we were kids, we watched Schindler's List when I was like 11, and it was hard for me to watch it because it made me sick. And ever since then, it's hard for me to even talk about Auschwitz and the Holocaust and concentration camps. And so I know Patriot Gallery loves it when we can bring you guys a happy spin or a joyful spin or at least a hopeful spin, and we will get to some hope. But if I get animated or upset or seem very negative about AOC or Ilhan Omar about what they said in these concentration camps, it literally goes back to me being like 11 years old and watching Schindler's List, and I just am so very upset about it, even still today. So let's see. Britt Baza says Auschwitz was never actually meant to be a death camp, but Belsen camp was designed as a massive death camp. Auschwitz became a death camp when Nazis realized they were losing and panicked. Eric says we should never forget.
I want to play this again because remember that was like daytime.
Let me finish the comments because they get out of control, and then we'll go ahead and do that.
I just want to play in the background.
Well, I don't know if they'll be able to hear me, and it might take away from that.
It just was playing this thing.
Okay.
Nighttime, they were singing it.
Jim West says, exactly, Michelle. I don't think Jews were desperately trying to enter Nazi Germany in large numbers. Eric says they took their gold teeth. I think I read that part already. Britt Baza says, Michelle, Hitler has actually been tied to Lord Rothschild for funding World War II. Lord Rothschild is part of an English-Jewish family. Edward Wallace says, lined up at a border to go to a concentration camp. Right. Redneck Survivalist says they sent the ones with mental disabilities to places where they said that they would help them and then just murdered them. Mm-hmm. Well said. Turkle says, try to look at civilization as a living being. It seems to be about 100 years apart. Time right now for a major global conflict. Can anyone really imagine how not in current tangent? Go Trump. Let's see. Kelly PB Fam says there were children that were twins and they did gross studies on them. So I think those are the ones that I wanted to catch up on, but it's such a serious topic that I wanted to hear from you guys.
Well, this is a modern day protest against the same kind of mentality that Nazi Germany had. China is a modern day Hitler concentration camp. We all know this, and the fact that we say never again.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play this because this is at night, so they obviously were singing this
all day because the first video was
long.
Yeah.
And the power of God on this. This is what the French Revolution is missing.
Yeah.
Christians. These are Christians in Hong Kong. They know that they'll be rounded up. They know they'll be put in prison camps. They know they'll have their organs taken away. No, to their extradition. This means their life is on the line.
Exactly.
That's why I wanted. I know that they're halfway across the world, but when Patriot Valley showed me this, and when I've seen all these other videos, it's like these are my brothers and sisters, and they're trying not to get arrested, and get put in prison and have their organs taken out and be in prison for till they die, obviously, which would be rather quickly for them.
I've always been terrified of going to any Asian country just because I grew up. We watched, what was the
China
Cry, and so many other horror stories of them putting drugs in your bag and then arresting you for the drugs. But it just seems like in all these Asian countries, it's just terrifying that you will get arrested and be never heard from again. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So Donald Trump started his rally in Florida. So let's go to some good news here.
Good.
These are some Hispanic voters.
For Cuban Americans in Miami, Mr. Trump, we're voting for you. And I think that we're going to be bringing a lot of other Hispanics to vote with you. I think Trump has been the most pro-Latino president. Yes, he has been tough on immigration, but the only way for the immigrants to thrive that are here legally, is for us to control immigration, for us to know how many people are here, for us to know that we live in a safe country. People come to this country because we have rule of law.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well said, young lady.
So that was going around the making the rounds. Now here's Trump. Trump has a spiritual advisor, and she opened up Donald Trump's rally with a prayer. And you guys have to hear this.
The malt box.
Let's see. I knew if I fast forwarded, it would just go slower.
Good evening. Are you ready for a great night of victory?
Ah!
Pastor Paula White.
I'm going to ask you to do something. As our president often says, and I've had the wonderful privilege of having an 18-year relationship with him and his family, he says, we worship God, not government. So we're going to start out. I'm going to ask you to grab that person's hand next to you, if you don't mind standing up all over this beautiful arena.
Ah! Stop it.
And just grab that sweaty hand that you've been
To
holding.
make it big.
I believe in the power of unity. And as we begin to make declarations and come to the Father in prayer,
People's
Father,
camped
I
out
come to
days.
you in the name of Jesus.
Days
And first and
days.
foremost, I give you thanks for our great United States. I give you thanks for our president and for your blessings and your goodness. Your word declares in Psalm chapter 34, verse 1, that I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise shall continually be in my mouth. So we thank you and we bless you, God, for your goodness, for your grace, for your mercy. I pray for the Spirit of the Lord to rest upon our president. And let your favor cause his horn, his power, to be exalted, according to Psalm chapter 89, verse 17. Lord, your word says in Psalm chapter 2, verse 1 through 4, why do the nations conspire, and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth rise up, and the rulers band together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their chains and throw off their shackles. The one enthroned in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. Father, you have raised President Trump up for such a time as this. You are a God that reveals secrets. So reveal the secret and the deep things to President Trump, according to Daniel chapter 2, verse 22. Make known unto him the mystery of your will. I declare that skillful and godly wisdom have entered into the heart of our president, and knowledge is pleasant to him. Father, we ask you to compass him with men and women and make their heart and ears attentive to godly counsel, to do that which is right in your sight. Now I need you to really go with me here. Let every evil veil of deception of the enemy be removed from people's eyes in the name which is above every name, the name of Jesus Christ.
It's so great.
For you said in your word, so I'm going to deal with some principalities now, okay? Because you said in your word in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, that we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So right now, let every demonic network that has aligned itself against the purpose, against the calling of President Trump, let it be broken, let it be torn down in the name of Jesus. Let the counsel of the wicked be spoiled right now now, according to Job chapter 12, verse 17. I declare that President Trump will overcome every strategy from hell and every strategy of the enemy, every strategy, and he will fulfill his calling and his destiny. Destroy and divide their tongues, O Lord, according to Psalm chapter 55, verse 9. Give President Trump strength to bring forth his destiny, according to Isaiah chapter 66, verse 9. Let the secret counsel of wickedness be turned to foolishness right now in Jesus' name. And I declare that no weapon formed against him, his family, his calling, his purpose, this counsel will be able to be formed. Now I declare that you will surround him and protect him from all destruction. Let the angel of the Lord encamp around about him, around his family, according to Psalm chapter 34, verse 7. Establish him in righteousness and let oppression be far from him, according to Isaiah 54, 14. I deploy the hand of God to work for him in the name of Jesus. I secure his calling. I secure his purpose. I secure his family. And we secure victory in the name which is above every name, the name that has never failed for this nation and for my life, the name of Jesus Christ. And everybody said,
Amen. Woo! That is how you go into spiritual warfare for your president and your country. Okay? I don't think that any president has ever had a pastor come up and go into spiritual warfare at the launching of their campaign.
There's a little black thing on your lip. Like this.
The bug?
No, right here. There. Now it's on your bottom lip right there. Now it's on your top lip.
Just get it. It's a very serious moment here.
I got it.
Bind that black thing in the name of Jesus, little speck of whatever that is. I was outside walking dogs, never can tell. Little thing of tree. But seriously, this is epic. And this goes back to that Time magazine thing that's going, for the next 500 years. Okay? Jesus has come back to our country and they can't get him out. And that's why they are scrambling. That's why they are screaming. The demons are trembling. And that's what makes this so awesome. We have people, I guarantee you, in that audience, they don't know Jesus. And they still grab the hand of the person next to them and they're like, amen. Can you imagine? I mean, literally, I was like brought to tears.
Yeah, I was trying to bring up more
so great
video of people lined up, but maybe I'll just skip it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that was probably one of the most interesting, but Trump's been having a lot of prayers over him lately, and he loves that stuff. He loves that stuff.
You know what she did throughout the whole thing?
Quoted scripture.
Quote scripture. Okay. Do you have any idea how powerful the word of God is? Mm-hmm. If you have a pastor, what's his name that wrote The Purpose-Driven Life? Never quotes the word of God. Whatever his name is. Okay. Rick Warren. If you have a pastor that doesn't quote scripture all the time, in and out, don't listen to him.
It doesn't have to be chapter and verse. It just has to be scripture.
No, it just got to be scripture, man. What were you going to say? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
It is a spiritual warfare over Donald Trump. That's what this is all about. And the whole time she's praying, I'm like, Hillary Clinton, the Democrats can bring all that they want. Yeah. But when the body of Christ unites behind something, weapon, baby. You can't fight it.
Can't fight it.
You're going to win 2020 because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. God used WikiLeaks and God bless Julian Assange and God get him out. But he needs Jesus to get him out. Yeah. Okay, but something else could come around in 2020. Okay? Because
Trump knows God and the people's prayers are what got him elected. So the fact that he chose to launch his 2020 campaign with such a powerful prayer that had to be approved before she went out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's powerful.
Boom.
All right, so I'm going to move on to this because this was Tucker 2 nights ago. The Koch brothers are supposedly, everybody's like, oh, funded by the Koch brothers, funded by the Koch brothers. They're supposedly, these Republicans who are funding everything. They're ex-Democrats who are just taking over the Republican Party, and they're the ones who are getting you and me off of YouTube. Off of Facebook.
Two of the richest men in the world. Each one of them is worth tens of billions of dollars. Some of their money is inherited, much of it they made themselves. But to their credit, the Kochs have never been content merely to get richer. They are engaged intellectuals. They have a sincere desire to change the world.
There it is.
So for years, the brothers have been the single most important funders of Republican politics in Washington, in the country. Koch network of donors spends hundreds of millions of dollars every election cycle. Virtually every major conservative nonprofit in Washington takes Koch money, often a lot of it. Koch organizations train political organizers and candidates. Many Republican lawmakers owe their careers to the Kochs and are happy to say so. For people whose main business is making fertilizer and paper towels, the Kochs have been remarkably effective in American politics. And not surprisingly, the left hates them for it. Both the Koch brothers and their families, who by the way are very nice people, have been grotesquely and repeatedly maligned by the media. This in turn has convinced many conservatives that the Kochs must be on their side. Anyone who's been slandered by the New York Times has got to be doing something right. That's the idea. It's not a bad standard, but in this case, in the case of the Kochs, conservatives might want to pause and rethink the relationship. As it turns out, the Kochs don't have much in common with conservatives. They are in fact totally opposed to most conservative policy goals. The Kochs are libertarian ideologues. They're passionate and inflexible about what they believe. America first? The Kochs find the very notion of that absurd, if not fascist. An economic policy that seeks to strengthen families? The Kochs denounce that as, quote, crony capitalism or picking winners and losers. They think it's immoral, and they'll tell you so. Controlling our borders? The Kochs consider that racist. A few years ago, in fact, Bernie Sanders noted that the Koch brothers are far to the left of him on immigration. Open borders, quote, that's a Koch brothers proposal, Bernie Sanders said. And he was right. But in fact, it's more than a proposal. It's in effect what we have now in this country, open borders. And that's thanks in part to the Kochs. The overwhelming majority of Republicans want a secure border and less immigration. That's why they voted for Donald Trump. 2.5 years later, though, the border is more porous than ever. A tide of humanity is flooding in illegally. Republicans in Congress have done almost nothing to help with the situation. Why? Well, you can thank the Kochs for that. In 2018, Koch-backed organizations, the Freedom Network and Americans for Prosperity, pressured Republicans in Congress to use their limited post-election lame duck session to pass an amnesty for the so-called Dreamers. Going into this election, the 2020 race, amnesty remains the Kochs' top legislative priority. So if you're wondering why the Republican Party often seems completely out of sync with its own voters, this is why. And it's not just on immigration. The Koch network has also successfully pushed Republicans to join the left in going soft on crime. The Kochs aggressively back the First Step Act, which is currently allowing drug traffickers to leave prison early. They support the Sentencing Reform and Corrections Act. That would cut required penalties for heroin and cocaine traffickers in half. Now keep in mind, they're doing all of this in the middle of the deadliest drug epidemic in American history. The Kochs don't even bother to argue that these so-called reforms would help any law-abiding American in any way. They just believe it's the right thing, the libertarian thing to do. So they're pushing for it. On economics, meanwhile, you won't be surprised to learn that the Kochs hold views that bear no resemblance at all to what most Republican voters believe. The Kochs have pushed for cuts to Social Security and Medicare, for example. A vast majority of Americans are opposed to that. Most Republicans are opposed to that. Like almost everyone else, by the way, Republicans want lower drug prices. Drugs are expensive and getting more so. And yet the Kochs are working to kill a bill introduced by Senators Josh Hawley and Rick Scott that will prevent drug companies from charging Americans more than they charge the people of Canada or France. That seems like a fair idea to most people.
Wow.
The Kochs are preventing it from happening. Then the Kochs helped draft the 2017 tax cut. That turned out to be a far better deal for corporate America than it was for the American middle class. A majority of Republicans support capping interest rates on credit cards and payday loans. The Kochs think that idea is ridiculous. In fact, some years ago when David Koch ran for vice president as a libertarian, abolishing all usury laws was part of his platform. Now, there's nothing surprising about any of this or illegitimate. It's what many rich liberals believe. It's just not what most Republicans believe. And that's a problem, given that the Kochs are the single most powerful figures in the Republican Party. The Kochs don't seem interested in hearing you complain about that, or anything else, actually. Remarkably, they have now joined the left-wing campaign against free speech in America. Next month, the Charles Koch Institute will hold a summit with the Anti-Defamation League and executives from major tech companies, including Pinterest, Airbnb, Patreon, Mozilla. The stated purpose of the meeting is to formulate, quote, best practices on the fight against hate and extremism online, end quote. But you know exactly what that really means. It means censorship of your views. For the left, fighting extremism always entails crushing normal conservatives. That's why Pinterest has censored live action. It's why Patreon banned Milo Yiannopoulos. It's why Mozilla drove out Brendan Eich for the crime of donating to the wrong political campaign. Big tech has become a far greater threat to your freedom than the federal government. The Kochs don't care about that. Nothing Google does violates libertarian orthodoxy. More to the point, the Kochs don't care about Republican voters or what happens to them. Okay, that's fine. No law requiring them to care. But then why are they running the Republican Party? That's a question Republicans should start asking themselves.
So what I love about when we watch a segment like this from Tucker is like what you kind of started out the show with mentioning how Donald Trump now listens to Tucker, I think even more than Sean Hannity. And so when Tucker does a segment like this, he literally has the ear of the president. Now, I'm sure that the president knows the Koch brothers better than any of us because he's probably been in the mix with them. These millionaires and billionaires and men of power rub shoulders with each other. They're, it's like an actor and actress usually only marries another actor and actress. Okay. And so the fact that Trump is hearing, oh, this has gotten down to the everyday people. I've already known that these guys were corrupt. I've already known what they do. I can now address it.
So I want to go over a little bit. Jim Hoft has been probably one of the only people on the from Gateway Pundit to break down the numbers on the censorship. Because Gateway Pundit was like number 3 in conservative sites being shared and tweeted out.
Right.
That's how I found out about them in 2016.
Exactly.
And they went down like 98%. I mean, imagine your reach. And Google did that. And Facebook did that. And YouTube did that. So on Wednesday night, Tucker Carlson warned President Trump. Now remember, Tucker Carlson has the ear of the president, and he knows.
I love this.
And
so
he hears what's happening. He knows what's happening. Okay, so if Donald Trump doesn't get elected, it will be purely because of tech censorship and no other reason.
Right.
So tech giants Google, Twitter, Facebook are currently purging conservative content from their platforms. In February 2018, Facebook launched a new algorithm to ensure that conservative news would not spread. And I remember, I tell you guys this all the time, but I want to kind of just like give you an idea of what was going on in 2016 because you have to remember it. You have to know how Donald Trump got elected. You have to know how basically Hillary did not get elected. Because I remember a lot of people were sharing anti-Hillary stuff right and left.
Exactly.
And it didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter if you were on the right or left. It was a free-for-all. It was very exciting. And I would be so excited because I would get on Twitter I would get on Facebook. I get on Twitter now because it's still in my feed. The stuff that I want, the Breitbart, my feed on Twitter is still the same. But my Facebook feed is not.
Right.
I was almost getting a little concerned there for a little bit because like my whole feed was just news sites and I didn't see any of my friends' stuff. And I was like, wow, I mean, I need to go to like my cousins or whatever to see what's going on with them. But I liked the page. I said I wanted to follow most of their posts, and so they showed up. And now I can't tell you the last time I saw one. The only way you can get your page into people's feed is to boost it. And sometimes they don't allow you to boost it. This is how they're making money.
A lot of times they don't allow you
so
to
I
boost
see
it.
Ben Shapiro and Louder with Crowder and other people who pay to boost things. LifeSite News pays to boost things a lot. Lila Rose pays to boost things a lot. It's part of their budget. We have no budget, so we never boost our posts. If you see it, it's a fluke. So the algorithm change caused Donald Trump's engagement on Facebook posts to plummet 45%. His own posts, the president's posts, went down by half. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders did not suffer any decline with Facebook engagement. Top conservative Facebook pages with daily traffic in the millions saw 75 in the millions. Facebook daily traffic in the millions. Breitbart did, and Gateway Pundit and Daily Caller. Millions of people were at their sites. Young Conservatives, Western Journalism, Sarah Palin, Chicks on the Right, Independent Journal Review, Right Wing News, The Gateway Pundit, InfoWars banned completely. They used to be shared tons on Facebook.
Oh, I know.
Pamela Geller, Laura Loomer, 100% Fed Up, The Drudge, and several others have seen dramatic loss in traffic and influence. Facebook uses Soros-funded Point Year as a fact check on their platform. So the same group that recently listed every prominent conservative publisher last week as fake news. Facebook has been shutting down traffic to conservative websites since the 2016 election. In March 2017, Columbia Journalism Review published a study of the 2016 election and found conservatives had abandoned the liberal mainstream media in 2016 and went online into social media to get their news. What? Oh, just get off Facebook. No, you don't understand. Where are you supposed to get your news? That's how things shifted. Okay? It shifted in 2016 because people didn't turn on their television and listen to CNN,
right.
ABC. That's what I grew up. My grandma used to just watch 60 Minutes and Nightline and all that stuff and just Channel 12
right.
ABC News. Okay? I don't know if she watched a lick of Fox, but she was a Republican. Now, people abandoned all that. And they were like, I need more news. So you trust your friends on Facebook. Right. You trust. And so when they read an article, you trust it, right? So this is the Facebook influence map, October 2016. So you have all these different sites. Breitbart over here, Truth Feed, Gateway Pundit, Fox News, and you see all these little dots and how they got bigger and bigger. And then you had the left wing over here. After this study was published and Facebook went to work and started censoring conservative views, and then you see these. Facebook was on a mission to delete traffic to conservative websites. So boom, boom, boom. No more of these. No more.
Every day, the left denounced the president as a threat to democracy and free expression. You hear it constantly, but at the same time, the left is coming closer and closer to taking total control of the internet and blocking any speech it disagrees with. That is absolutely the plan. Tonight, we can exclusively report that last week, the Democratic Party chairman, Tom Perez, met with a Council on Technology and Society. This council included the CEO of the tech company TaskRabbit, among others. According to a summary of the meeting that we received, the group bluntly asked Tom Perez, again, the head of the Democratic Party, what they could do to, quote, contribute to the broad social good. When you ask that question to the head of the Democratic Party, what are you asking? How can we elect Democrats? Which is what they're trying to do. Meanwhile, in a not unrelated story, a coalition of major companies, including Verizon, NBC, Facebook, and Google, the biggest companies, has announced a new Global Alliance for Responsible Media. Remember that, Global Alliance for Responsible Media. Now, the stated goal is to pressure tech platforms to, quote, develop and deliver against a concrete set of actions, protocols, and processes for protecting people and brands, blah, blah, blah. In other words, what they're really saying is censorship, and censorship on a vast scale. If they have their way, this will be the end of free speech online and the death, by the way, of mainstream conservatism. Any voice right of center will be tarred as hate speech, Russian trolls, or simply bad for business. That's their game plan. It's simply a question of whether anybody in power in Washington will do anything to prevent it from happening before it does. And by the way, you'd think the Trump campaign might be interested in this, because there's no chance the president will be reelected if supporters can't speak freely online.
Thank you, Tucker.
Obviously. Blake Harris is author of The History of the Future, and he joins us tonight. Blake, thanks a lot for coming on. So this seems like an alignment of the people who control all speech online, and why shouldn't that terrify anyone who believes in free speech?
I wish I had an answer for you, but the answer is that it should. As you know from the last time I was on, I wrote this book, The History of the Future, and I set out to tell a story about this rags to riches VR story about this company, Oculus, founded by Palmer Luckey, sold to Facebook for $3 billion. And then my book took a left turn when Palmer ended up getting fired from the company for essentially being a Trump supporter. And I was like, you know, admitted to last time I was on the show, I'm a lifelong liberal, but this is not about left and right. This is about right and wrong. And it is alarming what is going on.
Well, it's horrifying. And because it is a concentration of more power in one place than we've seen in my lifetime, probably we've seen since the turn of the last century when Teddy Roosevelt helped break up the trusts, and yet nobody seems worried about it. Why is that?
I think, you know, at first I asked myself that same question every morning, and I think that what I came to believe is that most of these people, most of these left-leaning people and the heads of the tech company and the populate tech companies are just so certain in their correctness. And so they think that they are good, fighting the good fight, and helping Facebook in their mission. And Facebook is really largely like an activist company more than anything else. And, you know, for example, one of the things that comes to mind is Andrew Bosworth. He's the head of consumer hardware at Facebook, one of the early employees. He was Mark's TA back at Harvard. And during the election season, he casually and frequently shared articles like there's no such thing as a good Trump supporter. And that's just wild to me. You know, the level of discrimination against conservatives, against anyone slightly to the right of the left, is astonishing. And, you know, when we deal with other groups that are marginalized, we all, you know, at least there's an effort to make things better. There's at least an acknowledgement that maybe there's implicit biases. But when it comes to conservatives, the answer you either get is a wink and a nod, or it's just, well, some views don't deserve to have a platform. And again, I don't agree with many of these views, but they absolutely deserve to have a platform.
Of course. Of course. And there should be look, I'm sure you're not going to vote for President Trump's reelection. But you know as well as I, he will not be reelected if his supporters can't speak freely, period. And I don't know if they understand that. I hope they're starting to figure it out. Like, anyway, thank you for your reporting on this subject.
So I'm really hoping after watching this segment or hearing about this segment that Donald Trump will say to his people, you know, because he's got people, okay, so what can we do about this? And he really hammers them. I don't care what project you're on. I've launched my campaign. This should be your top priority because we are free publicity for Trump's campaign.
Free.
You are free publicity for Trump's campaign. Do you know why Hillary had a massive budget and Trump didn't need one? Us. Mm-hmm. That's how he got elected. Free publicity. And I'm really hoping
imagine,
Trump
here's
gets
the thing. Kamala Harris, even Bernie Sanders, even Elizabeth Warren, they are not going to have the this is grassroots people making video after video after video how great they are.
Exactly.
And their policies.
Right.
Okay, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
That's how you know that if Trump doesn't get elected, then something went cray-cray. And so when you hear the prayer from I forget her name, their little spiritual advisor.
I think somebody said her last name was Kane.
No.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was White or something. I don't know. Anyways, when you hear her prayer, this is a spiritual battle. The devil's like, oh my gosh, what has happened? Well, we had 100 years we had control of these people.
Yeah.
I sucked in kids through the internet. I used the internet. I created the internet so that I could get kids stuck on video games and pornography.
Right.
And lo and behold, those Christians began to use the airwaves and begin to destroy what I have built against me. I mean, they're using the very pornography airways to take down pornography. Oh my gosh!
So I used this analogy the other day, and since you did Star Wars earlier, I'm going to go to our faithful standby of The Matrix, because I was talking to Kansas, and I was telling him, as far as you all know that we want to be farmers. I hate electricity. I hate technology. Mm-hmm. I want to unplug. I want to just be out there and like pee in the woods, right? Mm-hmm. I don't like cars. You know, Patriot Gallery is always talking about horses and buggies and so on and so forth. But in the movie The Matrix, when Morpheus gives Neo the choice between the red pill and the blue pill, and he takes the red pill, and then all of a sudden he gets sucked out like some sort of slurpy, worm or whatever, and they go and they get the machine and they get him from his little Matrix cove thing, whatever, eggshell. And they take him and he embodies, his brain takes possession of his body for the first time ever. And he realizes what life is like. This is real life. This is reality. That's what the red pill is understanding what reality is. They have to go back into the Matrix, into false land, into evil land, into the very tool that was created to enslave their minds. They have to go back into that Matrix in order to defeat it and blow it to smithereens. They don't ever want to live in the Matrix. That's why they took the red pill. I don't want to live in the Matrix. I don't want to live in the internet. Okay? I want to live real life. But I'm coming to you through the Matrix right now because I recognize that the only way to take it down is from within. And that's why Leah and I have Resistance Chicks. That's why we have a YouTube channel. That's why we're on Twitter. That's why we're on Facebook. When everyone tells us, well, I would just get off of Facebook. I would just get off of Twitter. I would just get off of YouTube. Well, that's fine. Go live in the woods and you won't change anything, but you'll be safe yourself. But when the Nazis come after you, and they will reach you, you will have done nothing to stop it. Mm-hmm. So we are going into the matrix, into the very thing that we despise, to make the change. That's why we're still on Facebook. That's why we're still on Twitter. That's why we're everywhere where you guys say, well, I just wouldn't be a part of that. I've left Facebook. I'll never go back there. Okay, that's fine, but you're not making any changes. Mm-hmm. You're not affecting people.
So I drive a lot around suburbia, and these houses are so nice. They have all modern conveniences, new refrigerators, washing and dryers. Everything is at your beck and call, nice furniture. Everybody seems to have a new car. Everything is
Cars
wonderful.
are your biggest thing right now because all of ours keep breaking down. So when Leah sees other people with nice cars, she's like, can we just have a car that runs?
No, seriously. But what I don't have is... what I really wanted to focus on was that these people seem to have all these nice things, right. But the suicide rate in our country is so incredibly high.
And it's not just the suicide rate. We were talking about this on our dog walk the other day. It's the rate of happiness has declined to like nothing.
2/3 of America have a substance abuse or a mental problem. We have issues, and it's from the indoctrination. It's because of this, the cars. It's Patriot Gallery did a really good show. Maybe Michelle can put it in the thing, talking about, you know, this electricity that we have that we're using right now is not good for our health.
Literally.
Okay?
It makes us depressed.
But you have to balance it, like Michelle said, because guess what? Guns in battle and war isn't good for your health either.
Right.
And that's what we know. We're going into war.
Right.
And we put on our spiritual helmets and all that stuff. And that's what we have to recognize. I realize that being plugged into the matrix isn't good for my health, but neither is war, neither is battle.
Exactly.
Not good. Everybody, Braveheart didn't go and say, you know what, guys, this will be good for your health. You know what I mean? George Washington didn't go into battle and say, you know what, guys, Valley Forge is going to be good for your health. Our health is not the most important thing in the world. Okay? Your spiritual well-being and your soul is more important than your physical health. Mm-hmm. Okay? It is. And this is what people are suffering from.
Right.
47,000 people died by suicide. The CDC just released a report on Thursday. 1.4 million attempted suicide in 2017. The suicide rate increased by 1% from 2000 to 2006, by 2% from 2006 to 2016, which means the suicide rates are at their highest levels since World War II. And you can see in the different countries.
Say that one again.
World War II.
Thank you.
Okay, so in the darker states, the increase is 38 to 58%. Okay, so something happened in Montana, Wyoming, Kansas, Oklahoma, and even Ohio's at 31 to 37% increase in suicide.
So 47,000 deaths by suicide. And yet the left is encouraging young people to focus more on the few and handful of deaths that happen by gun, you know, via a school shooting, instead of mental health. Whereas if they really cared about lives, if Piers Morgan really cared about lives, he's one of the biggest anti-gun proponents, whatever, then he would focus on mental health and helping people to not want to kill themselves with these weapons. Because I guarantee you, I know personally of somebody that hung themselves, okay? You don't have to have a gun to commit suicide. So the argument for, well, if we just got rid of guns, then people wouldn't kill themselves. No, you need to focus on mental health, because people are going to jump off of bridges and they are going to hang themselves and they're going to slit their wrists and so on and so forth, and they're going to overdose on purpose.
Yeah. So I really think this is a typo. More than 70,000 people, I'm talking about drug overdoses. I think the 70,000 people are the people that died of drug overdoses in 2017. And 17.3 million, or 7% of Americans, are experiencing mental health issues. As we've shown in the past reports, life expectancy has also declined for 3 straight years, in part because of the surge in drug overdoses and suicides. This is the first year in a little over a year, a little over a century, since life expectancy fell for 3 consecutive years. So you see people going down. People are dying of less, like 40% drop in death from stroke. 40% drop in death from heart disease. Cancer deaths are dropping. Chronic respiratory diseases are dropping, but people are dying of suicides. The combination of increasing suicides and drug overdoses is damaging to the talk about the economy. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for 10 to 34-year-olds.
So also worth noting, and I won't talk about this a lot because, like Mom says, we like to keep it positive and stuff like that, but the food, these waves that come from the electricity and the Roundup and the GMOs and the vaccines, all of these play a huge part in suicide. So it's not just that we're unhappy, because it is, but I think when you combine the two, then it creates a perfect storm for somebody to literally kill themselves.
So if there's anything you can do, like right now, you're like, oh my gosh, what, I need to be sound-minded.
Washing and renewing of your mind through the Word.
Okay. Yes.
The Bible.
Yes. But I was going to say a physical thing you could do besides taking medicine.
Okay.
Take your shoes off.
Go outside and ground.
Take your socks
off.
Earthing. And go touch, just be in your soil. Put your hands on the ground.
Yep.
But without like anything between you. That's why I take your shoes and socks off, because
you have too much positive. It's not a good thing to have these positive ions flowing through your body. It's just like you literally have electricity, because we have so much electricity flowing through your body. You go and you ground. It's like a grounding rod for lightning, and it literally pulls all of that from your body.
So I want, actually,
because your body will store it like a battery.
2 more places that I want
bad
Matt to run. He's run a pole into the ground. You can run a pole into the ground, and you can take material that has some metal in it, and you can put an alligator clip with a wire from a grounded metal rod. It's very simple, actually. And we have done it. We took the mat and we sat on it and stand in front of the computer, and it goes to 0. And I want that to be one of our next priorities, is for while I'm standing here, I want the grounding mat here.
Okay, so first of all, let me mute this and get through the ad here. And I want to show you guys, you want to go and watch, it's called The Grounded. Okay. Thank you. And tonight's Friday night movie, you are going to watch this film. Okay. And then that's all they need to know. It talks about people that have been healed from literally like sleeping and grounding themselves. So I wanted to kind of show you guys
we have these different wires running. Mom has one to her room. Uncle Jack has one to his room. I have one up to my bed. Michelle has one to her bed. And there's 2 more places I want it. One in front of the washing machine, and one in front of, I want one down here, so that when we're standing, I want it, and I want to make it as an experiment too.
Yeah.
And we could actually show people the thing.
Oh yeah, we have a voltmeter that literally shows how many volts you have running through your body. Mm-hmm. And then when you stand on the grounding mat, it literally pulls that from you. And these we're not meant as humans to have essentially radio waves from like Wi-Fi and all of these
there
electronics
are things you can
in
do.
our system.
There are mats, you can buy them, grounding mats.
You can buy grounding shoes that make it so, and I really want to get some.
Metal.
I don't have any, but I would like to get some grounding shoes so that when I'm walking dogs all day long, I'm earthing, I'm grounded, I'm pulling all of this stuff.
Leather does it too.
Yeah.
Leather does it too. So if you're wearing leather shoes,
I need some moccasins.
Yeah, if you're wearing leather shoes, it goes through. But most of our shoes have a rubber bottom. Mm-hmm. But if you're wearing leather, it goes through leather. So like a lot of cowboy boots are grounding boots. Mm-hmm. And I say that because you got to get back to the earth.
Yeah.
And when I go into the garden, or if I'm with my pigs and chickens, we call it grounding.
And there really is an antidepressant property to the soil.
Yeah, there is.
Besides just grounding.
Exactly.
When you touch it and when you work with it. And then there's the antidepressant in watching something grow.
Yeah.
And watching animals be born.
But I don't want you to be overwhelmed, because what happens is when you think about all the negative things, you get to feeling negative.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this.
That guy that said that.
Oh, who said
the black pill.
Oh.
Tell him that spirit.
Yeah, you have to get out of the nihilistic. Once you're red pilled, then you go to the nihilistic black pill, and everything's black.
Hopeless.
Everything's hopeless. And then I'm looking in my food pantry, and I see lemon juice from the store, olives from the store, baking powder from the store. I see some mayo from the store. I see things from the store. And I don't want it. I don't want anything from the store.
We have so many eggs and lard, we could make our own mayonnaise.
Tons of mayonnaise.
You can only do so much.
Exactly. You only have so much time. But my point is that, and I actually, when I switch gears and I get into like a bread making day, or if I get into canning time, even though that can kind of get a little bit to, because you do so many. But when I get into like those homemaking type things, it sends me to a different place, a good, positive place. And, well, why are you doing the videos, Leah? Do you enjoy doing the videos? I enjoy it. You know why? Because I want everybody to get there. I don't want to run off ahead and be like, oh, this is the right thing to do and this is good for me.
Right.
But then I'm just going to be real with you.
If we just did it all instead of telling you guys how to do it,
But here's the thing. I'm going to be real with you. This property here was rural. Across the street were cows. Behind me, I walked in the woods for miles and miles, and we picked raspberries, and it's all been developed. So if you move to the country, the development will follow you unless you put your foot in the ground and you get people. There's nothing wrong with homes. There's nothing wrong with a home. But you can build a home that is not these cookie cutter homes which are built for money, but you can build a home that is for homesteading.
Yeah.
They're going to look totally different. And a home that is built for homesteading is pleasant. Mm-hmm. Pleasant to the eye.
Right.
Pleasant to the you can build communities. You can build positive communities. You can build, and they are. You can build communities around farms.
Yeah.
You can build a community garden. You can build a community CSA. You can build. It doesn't have to be all just you or nothing. Our
friend Beth had sent me a link to this one community that has a 7-acre. It's like a park where it's all food. So they have gotten this funding to
that's so cool.
to have food. I was going to pull it up, but I'll just tell you about it. Where, you know, the trees, they can pick, and anybody can go. Because you know how many times you go to a park, don't eat, don't pick the berries, don't take a single leaf from here. If you do, we've got you on camera and we're going to arrest you. Yep. Okay, and that's the antithesis of what this park is. And I just thought that is so amazing.
7 acres.
7 acres.
Wow.
With like trees, like perennial things that will continue to, and they have the funding to have like people that can kind of tend what needs to be tended so that it will continue to produce fruit.
Wow.
So yeah, I think that's super duper awesome. Oh, I could pull it up if you wanted me to.
Yeah,
I had it right
cool.
here.
I would like people to see it.
Okay. All right, let me see this. Open link in new tab.
Atlanta turns.
Copy link. And then we'll put it over here. La-di-di-di. Paste and go. All right, so let me pull this up so you guys can see it. Okay. All right. Atlanta turned 7 acres of vacant land into the largest free food forest in the country. All right, let's see. That's all about to change. They voted in favor, changing this vacant space into a state of Georgia's first food forest. After a unanimous vote last Monday, the plans are set to go ahead. I don't know when this was written. May 29th, so this is fairly new. And this could potentially be the country's largest free food forest. As stated, this will be a free food forest. The project, which has been dubbed the Urban Food Forest, will be available to everyone completely free of charge. This amazing forest will have lots to offer, including edible trees, shrubs, and vines, in addition to more traditional community garden beds. It's not all about food either. There's plenty of walking trails, public gathering spaces, and other features too. Effectively, it's like going into a park and simply eating food from bushes, except this is much, much larger than any old park. Currently, it's being owned by the Environmental Agency, the Conservation Fund. The unused land will be sold on to the city of Atlanta for $157,384, which is a very precise figure. The agency came into possession of the land after it was abandoned due to a failed business venture. To save it going to waste or becoming more industrial properties, the agency has held onto it and left it as it was. It has actually been rumored that the urban food forest at Brown's Mill has been in the works for some time now, since November 2016, in fact, when the city accepted an $86,000 grant from the U.S. Forest Services. Yada, yada, yada. So, and it talks about the importance of food, so you guys can go in and check that out. Awesome. But seriously, these are the kinds of things that will bring life and health to communities and to people.
I want to encourage you to see the things that, like, I would love to sit down with, like, an AOC or somebody on the left and be like, okay, if we're going to use government funds, why don't we do this? Why don't we build these why, I would say, make it illegal for any county to not plant something that's that's food.
Exactly.
You know, from now on, all your shrubbery, you can have annuals, kale garden, cabbage garden.
Right.
A lot of it is, and you go out and you have a shake bar at your municipality,
right,
where you can go and have smoothie ingredients. Okay, there are things that can be done that that can begin to make a change, and then people will want to build. The idea is to get people started, because it is hard to get started. And then you start to do a little bit more, and you start to do a little bit more, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to start canning. I'm going to go, instead of buying canned corn, I'm going to go buy a bunch of corn and can it up. I'm going to buy some jars. And there are going to be companies. Let there be companies who make the bulk ingredients. Let there be glass companies and ball jar companies. Let there be canner companies. Let there be companies who make the things so that you can make the things, right?
Right.
All right.
So Britt Baza says, Michelle, if it goes according to plan, I'm going to get a 50-acre farm soon with its own woods, outbuildings, and 3 houses, 2 of which need restoration out west of the UK. Wow. Okay, so that is awesome. You need a wife now. Is anybody looking for a husband in the UK?
Adopt some kids.
Yeah, and adopt some kids.
So I was going to get out my guitar, but I think you can just sing it by...
okay.
This was going through my head today, so we're going to sing What Wondrous Love Is This? And then we're going to head out. All right.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to bear the dreadful curse for my soul, for my soul. To bear the dreadful curse for my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down beneath God's righteous crown, Christ laid aside his crown for my soul, for my soul. Christ laid aside his crown for my soul. To God and to the Lamb I will sing, I will sing. To God and to the Lamb I will sing. To God and to the Lamb who is the great I am. While millions join the theme, I will sing, I will sing. While millions join the theme, I will sing. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing and joyful be. And through eternity, I'll sing on, I'll sing on. And to eternity, I'll sing on. We had a puppy that decided she was going to go outside, and if we don't take her when she goes, then she just goes. She says she's got to pee. She's got to pee. Well, great song suggestion, Leah. That was really great. All right, so I put the link to Patriot Gallery's show from last night into our chat. I'm going to, let me see if I can get it and put it in the description as well, because I want you guys to go and watch it because it was really, really great. Let's see, copy link address. All right, so I'm throwing this in the description, but you can also find it on our video page. I've reworked our main page, our channel, to include some playlists. So the one list that I don't have up there is my Bible study list, Michelle's Bible studies, but there is a playlist where you can go and watch my Bible studies in order. I think they're in order. So let me pull up our YouTube channel so that you guys can see how I reworked it a little bit. Maybe you don't visit our YouTube channel very much, but you should. And I want to go through this really quickly since Leah left, so that I can help you to navigate. And the lighting is just terrible here. Let me change the background to something like darker so that the lighting gets better. There we go. All right, so here we go. This is my channel. This is what it looks like to me. So let me see what it looks like. Usually I can view it like to what it looks like to you guys, but oh, come on. Now I don't know where it's, okay, so that's not there. But anyway, so here we are on our channel. Here's our live show. If you want to see our videos, you can just go to videos, and here are the latest videos that we've done. But you can also go to our playlists. And so these are videos that we like, just, and if you want to randomly kind of stalk us in videos that we've given a thumbs up to, then you can. But so we've got Patriot Gallery. I made a playlist for her. Bible Studies with Michelle, Resistance, Chicks, Politics, and News. Those are pretty much like everything goes in there. Kansas Cowboy, God's Little Acre. This is when we went out to Polyface. We haven't done a candid car ride in a long time, but that's there. Our Going to Plymouth, all of our videos are there under Truly Monumental. Isaiah 58 Ministries, anytime we've had a church service or whatever, they're there. Leah Michelle's original music videos, that's just for fun. But I don't know where the Leah and Michelle Virgin Diaries are. They should be here. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. So let me go to our homepage here and just show you kind of how I reworked this. I want you guys to be able to find the content that you want, and to be able to watch things in order. This is just our popular uploads. You can kind of ignore that. But I've got Isaiah 58 Ministries here. I have no idea why that's there unless my mom did that. No, see, that shouldn't be there. I think that is a mistake. I'll have to take that out. Leah must have clicked on something. So we've got the Bible Studies with Michelle. Leah did a Bible study the other day. Eric Mathis's sermon was absolutely off the chain. I want you guys to go and watch that for sure. When we have our mega churches and whatnot, those go there. So anyway, so there's Patriot Gallery. These are just all of our uploads. I might get rid of this and put in my Bible Studies one. If you have not watched Leah Michelle's Virgin Diaries, then you're just not really a fan. And I'm not sure how to feel about you. But here's our God's Little Acre ones, just everything around the farm. Kansas Cowboys, we're still trying to strong arm him into making more of those. And then kind of outdoor DIY projects, music videos. I need to put more of our songs in there, but I kind of wanted to show you how you can navigate our channel. When you go to the About section, sometimes when we make posts, there should be a, maybe it's the community. Here it is, excuse me. The community has stuff. It's kind of supposed to be like a feed, like a Facebook or something. And I haven't posted anything here in a long time, but you can go to the community tab there. So this is how to navigate our YouTube channel. And I haven't gone to resistancechicks.com in a while to upload things. Well, I did recently. But I used to write kind of articles and stuff. So you guys can go here to resistancechicks.com. And I try to, when we're not super busy, to put up all of our latest videos. And I do have folders here, for, different, let's see, I need to figure out how to even navigate this myself. There's natural living. I haven't put Eric's latest sermon. This is his first one up there. I've got the European and UK news there, and I've got I think all of this is just like regular news. That's what this section is here too. So anyway, I wanted to kind of show you guys how to navigate our website and the YouTube channel. So there is all of that. So now you've had a little bit of a lesson there. So thank you guys for being here. I'm going to sign off without Leah. Britt Baza wants to know, Michelle, how's your deck coming? I know that you guys ask this every time. And when you ask the question, I do not take offense, even though I've told you a million times. I will let you know when we're working on it again. But for right now, we barely have time to eat and sleep because we are so busy working. And when we're not working, we're repairing our farm from the colossal floods that we've had. And when we're not repairing our farm from the colossal floods that we've had, actually this kind of takes precedence that we are taking care of baby chicks and our own animals. And the cars keep breaking down and there is literally no time for any extracurricular activity. So I will let you guys know when we get back on that. But I appreciate you asking, and I appreciate the... you said, I know you have flooding, but just wondering. And I appreciate the interest, and I am excited about it being finished, but God knows. There's a song by For King and Country called God Only Knows. I love that song. I could plug that to you. What is Michelle listening to? Torrin Wells, Fully Known. I love that song. Hills and Valleys. Those are top songs that I play over and over and over again all the time. Those three, I think. Oh, and thanks to Terry Mathis, Crowder's Back to the Garden. I don't know what it's called. I love that song. So, all right, you guys, we're really going to say goodbye. We'll see you on Sunday at 1 p.m. for our Eastern or for our European and UK news. If you want to send us letters, we will read them on air to P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio, 45150. One of you sent something. I have a suspicion as to who it is. You sent two somethings that we're going to debut on Sunday. So if you're wondering if we got them, we did. And very excited about them. I'm actually uber excited about these small and yet large gifts. If you've sent them, you know what they are. And so you guys will not want to miss Sunday's show because it's going to be awesome. I'm going to try to convince Leah to do the entire show with these on camera. So, all right. God bless. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday evening. We love you. God loves you. And remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. Good night, guys.
I was cold all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid. But you called my name.